Have you ever been deep diving on Google Maps, just exploring, and stumbled across something that looks wrong? A road that just cuts off and leads to absolutely nowhere. A town name pinned on the map, but when you zoom in, there are no buildings, no people, no history. It's a digital ghost, a glitch in the system. Now I want you to imagine something far more unsettling. A town that doesn't just appear as a glitch on a static map, but one that still exists right now on live surveillance cameras. But you can't find it anywhere else. Not on your phone's GPS, not on any satellite imagery, not in any official records. And here's the chilling part. Every single person who has ever tried to visit it has never come back. What you're about to hear is not a rumor. It's not some creepypasta cooked up on a late-night forum. And it's definitely not a movie plot. This is the story of a real, documented anomaly that the US government very quietly and very quickly stopped talking about, because this town was never, ever supposed to be seen. Our story begins in early 2014. A data analyst, working for a private mapping contractor, one of those companies that provides data for the GPS in your car, noticed something strange. His job was to review live traffic camera feeds from all across the Midwest, just routine quality control. But one location stood out. It was a small, unassuming town in a remote corner of Nevada. No major highways ran through it. There were no tourist attractions, no national parks nearby, nothing to warrant the level of surveillance it had. Yet, it had active cameras, dozens of them. Traffic cameras, sure, but also cameras on street corners, public squares, even a feed from a courthouse security system. According to the system's metadata, the town name was listed as Hollow Creek. Here's the problem. There was absolutely no official record of a town named Hollow Creek ever existing. It wasn't in any census data. The Postal Service had never heard of it. Historians couldn't find it in any archives, old maps or land grants. It was a complete ghost. Yet the cameras were live, streaming in real time at first glance. Everything in the footage looked eerily normal. The streets were empty, but clean. The street lights were all working. The buildings looked solid, well maintained, but the longer the analyst watched, the more a deep, unsettling feeling began to creep in. There was something fundamentally wrong with this picture. The cameras never showed any people, not a single pedestrian walking down the sidewalk, not one car driving down the main street. Yet the town itself seemed alive. The street lights flickered on at dusk and off at dawn. American flags hanging from porches would flutter and ripple in the wind. Neon signs in storefront windows would glow with a faint hum. It was a perfectly preserved town, frozen in a state of permanent, silent readiness. Then, someone on the team noticed the one detail that turned this from a weird anomaly into something truly disturbing. The clocks, every single visible clock in the entire town, the big one on the courthouse tower, the digital displays in shop windows, the cheap plastic ones on office walls, they were all frozen. And they were all frozen at the exact same time, 3:11 a.m. forever. This was no longer just a data glitch. It was an impossibility. A 3-person field team was assembled and dispatched to verify the location on the ground. They were specialists, a surveyor, a technician, and a security lead. Standard procedure. But as they drove toward the coordinates pulled from the camera data, things started to go wrong. About 12 miles out from where Hollow Creek should have been, their GPS signal vanished. Their phones went dead. No service. Even their encrypted shortwave radios just crackled with static. The digital world had abandoned them, but the physical road was still there, stretching out into the desert, so they kept driving. And according to the live camera feeds back at the office, they arrived. The footage, clear as day, showed their unmarked SUV pulling into town. It parked right on Main Street. The doors opened. The 3 team members stepped out, looking around, a little disoriented. That was the last moment any human being ever saw them in the real world. Here's where the footage transitions from strange to deeply, profoundly terrifying. The cameras continued to roll. They showed the team walking through the town, seemingly going about their mission. They explored the empty buildings. They took notes, pointed at things, communicated with hand signals since their radios were down. But as the analysts back at headquarters watched, they noticed their movements were becoming delayed, laggy. as if the footage itself was slightly out of sync with the normal flow of time. A step would take a fraction of a second too long. A gesture would hang in the air. Then it happened. One by one, the team members stopped moving. They didn't collapse. They didn't show any signs of panic or distress. They simply stood still, frozen in place. One was looking up at the courthouse clock. Another was staring into a storefront window. The third was in the middle of the street. They remained perfectly motionless, like statues, for exactly 49 seconds. And then, they all turned their heads, in perfect, unnatural unison, directly toward the nearest camera. Then the next camera. And the next. It was as if they had all, in the very same instant, become aware of every single lens that was watching them. They stared into the cameras with blank, empty expressions, their mission forgotten, their humanity gone. No one had bothered to check the audio from the feeds. They were street cameras. They rarely picked up anything but wind and static. But weeks later, a new technician, trying to find a reason for the team's disappearance, decided to boost the sound levels. He isolated the channels, filtered out the static, and amplified what was left. What he found made him walk off the project that same day. Beneath the low hum of the town's electricity and the whisper of the desert wind, there was something else. It wasn't words. It wasn't a language anyone could recognize. It was breathing. The soft, rhythmic sound of hundreds, maybe thousands of breaths, inhaling and exhaling in a chorus that filled the empty streets. It was as if the town itself was full of people. They just weren't visible to the cameras, or to us. Within days of this discovery, the Hollow Creek camera feeds were shut down. The town vanished from every internal database. The coordinates were scrubbed and rerouted to a patch of empty desert. All records of the project, the town, and the missing team were erased. The official explanation, if anyone dared to ask, was a complex mapping error, a phantom dataset that created a fictional town. Case closed. But one final frame was leaked before the shutdown. A single grainy image captured from the feed. It shows that same empty street, with the clocks all reading 3:11 a.m., and on the fogged-up glass of a storefront window, someone or something had written 3 words from the inside. It said, "Stop watching us." So let me ask you this. If a place can exist only when it is being observed, what happens to it when we finally look away? Are some towns not abandoned, but just hiding in plain sight? And if our cameras can see places that we can no longer reach, what else are they watching for us? In the corners of the world we've forgotten to check. Because maybe, somewhere right now, in a server room full of humming machines, a camera is still recording a place that doesn't exist on any map. And it's just waiting for someone else to notice. Thanks for watching. If stories like this get your mind racing, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You never know what we might uncover next. Stay curious.